Now, in heaven, God owns total authority. Not only does the Bible say that, not only does God claim that in the first commandment, but Jesus himself said that's the way it is. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. So in heaven, God claims total authority and God owns total authority. That's what makes heaven heaven. Sinners were kicked out, thrown out, driven out. Unfortunately, you and I are living behind the enemy's lines. You and I are living where people do not bow to the only one in heaven who owns authority. So when you get kicked out of heaven and you're going to run your own world down here, you've got to have a plan. How are you going to exercise authority over your constituents? Now, the way God does that is, He says, if you love me, you'll do what I say. Are you listening? It's real simple. God's plan, God's government is, this is how we operate. I love you and you love me. As long as you do what I ask and what I command, we call that heaven. Now the devil said, I don't like that plan. And he talked Eve and Adam into not liking that plan. So how are you going to get people to bow to your command? Well, love is the only way that works. No, it's not. It's not the only way. I'll tell you how it is down here. You bow down or we're going to cut your head off. You bow down or we're going to kill you. You bow down or we're going to kill your family. You bow down. If you don't, we're going to starve you to death. Now this is how this government is run. And sadly, all other governments down here have taken the lesson well, learned the lesson well. Now, we have to understand how authority is exerted down here. At the point of a gun or at the point of $1. So because you have such generous authority and because you are really a nice guy, we know that you're going to exert authority first at the point of the $1. That's that way you don't have to cut anybody's head off. You don't have to, we're going to take total control of the monetary system. That's what we're going to do. God has spelled it out 2,000 years in advance, 3,000 years in advance. God has spelled it out. This is what they're going to do. They're going to take universal or total or global control of the money. 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 So the Brother Wheelings of the world, with 30 plus years of experience firsthand of knowing who has the authority to shut the doors of the church and turn off the money tap, Brother Wheeling gets nervous. And so Brother Wheeling is walking around in a daze, mumbling to himself and heaven, saying, Lord, it takes a lot of money, and the people were willing to give the money, and they were giving the money, and we were printing the books. And the church turned off the tap. And we've had enough experience, Lord, down here. We've had enough experience that we know how to go to the British government in Great Britain and receive authority to print a book for every home in Great Britain and France in Germany, in Italy, Spain. You listening? All the islands of the Caribbean, Australia, New Zealand, South America. Lord, we need $350 million. I know that's a lot, but we need $350 million. That's a drop in the bucket for heaven. And Lord, we're getting anxious down here because we see the doors closing. That's what we're going to talk about this morning. We see the doors closing. Now, we're not supposed to be anxious for anything, but I'm anxious, Lord. I'm nervous, Lord. I see another month go by and another month and another month and another year and another year, and I'm nervous. So you and I need to talk. We need some lessons from the past so that we make the right application for the present and what's just ahead. I'm anxious about California and the West Coast. We have lots and lots and lots of friends and supporters out there through the years. And I'm really anxious for them because I see the record of Scripture repeating out there in California. Abraham, I'm here with two of my messengers and I'm sending them down to Sodom and Gomorrah to destroy the place. Abraham said, I'm anxious. That makes me nervous, Lord. Why are you nervous? Why are you anxious, Abraham? Well, because my nephew Lot is down there with his family. And you're talking about things that are mysterious to me. I thought God was a God of love, and you're talking about destroying the place. Why, you wouldn't do that if there are... No, I won't do that if there are 50 just souls. Well, Lord, I'm still anxious. I'm still nervous. I'm still, I'm having an anxiety attack. What if there are only 40? You understand? Now, I'm going to tell you right here and right now, I do not believe God caused the flood. I do not believe God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. I believe the natural forces of nature, when God decided not to step in the way, destroyed. That's my belief. Whether it's right or wrong matters not. The flood happened. The destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah happened. Someone had authority. That's the Genesis record. Someone had authority, and two angels were sent down. And they said to Lot, we have come to get you and your family out of this place because we have come to destroy it. Now, how they would destroy it and not destroy it is a different story. It doesn't matter. The record is they were given authority. And the authority was to either bring down the fire and the brimstone or get out of the way and let the fire and brimstone come. And as long as they were there, belaboring the point with Lot and his family, the fire and brimstone didn't come down. But finally they said, enough is enough. Are you listening? Enough is enough. Now we have records in the good book. We have instances in the good book where God finally throws his hands up and says, Ephraim is joined to his idols. Let him alone. You don't want to hear that. Charles is joined to his idols. Let him alone. I don't want to hear that. That's where we're going. Now this is personal. I'm speaking to you and I'm speaking to friends at a distance. We have thousands of friends at a distance. And many of them are at the distance of California and the West Coast. And I have record after record after record, account after account after account in Scripture that get out of this place because judgment is on the way. And I'll say that to my friends in California, especially west of the Great Fault Lines. Get out of that place while you can. Because judgment is coming. All you have to do is turn the evening news on. All you have to do is turn the news on and look at the spirit that has taken control. It is a lawless spirit. We don't care what the government says. You don't care. No, we don't. And besides that, if we pass a law that it's okay for men to marry men and women to marry women, that's our business and none of yours. I think I've read this story somewhere else before. I think. Now we're going to look at the charts, and I've given you a new one. It's not complete, but I've given you a new one. And if you're kind of remembering the first one of the things that we allowed was increasing tensions between the USA and Iran. So my phone is ringing. Oh, Brother Wheeling, it's not Iran, it's North Korea. No. You haven't read the record. For there shall be wars and rumors of wars. Nation against nation and kingdom against kingdom. I believe, this is personal, I believe that the struggle going on with North Korea presently is a rumor of war. But I believe the record of prophecy about Iran, Persia, is not a rumor. It's going to become a reality. Two horns on that ram are going to push and push and push until the power from the West comes and says enough is enough is enough. Well, that's what they're saying about North Korea. No. I believe we're experiencing rumors of war right now. I believe we're going to move to a real war before this year is over. That's just my belief. But I want to talk to you about authority. We are watching the authority of the richest, most powerful nation on the planet questioned. Well, the Russians don't respect your authority. No, we're not worried about the Russians. Well, the Chinese don't respect you. We're not worried about the Chinese. Here's what bothers us. Jesus said it this way, a house divided cannot stand. And we are watching this house go to pieces, come to pieces. Now, if you want to go back in the past and see this take place, it's called the Tower of Babel. That's where the authority, that's where the money, that's where the intellectual, that's where everything was centered and focused. And something happened. And they gave an order up here for more of these brick to come up here. But when it got to the bottom, the guy said, I don't like that brick. I'm going to send this brick up. This is where we are. Confusion. This is where we are. And this is very important if you understand Bible prophecy. It's very important to understand that when confusion sets in, when disagreement and division set in, then the great power and strength and native authority that this nation has been able to exert for more than 200 years, it's going to go up in a wisp of smoke. We're going to see that in a few minutes. Money can't buy you everything. You have to have real authority if you're going to keep the wolf from the door. Money has a lot to do with that. A lot. You know the verse, so I'm not going to have you turn there, but it's Matthew 24 and verse 8. You'll find it again in Luke. great earthquakes. The signs in the heavens are not referring to heaven where God dwells. It's referring to the sky overhead. Here's the list. It's repeated not twice in the Bible. It's repeated 3 times. Matthew, Mark, and Luke. You've got 2 disciples and 1 doctor. If 2 or more are agreed in a matter. So here we have a list of all these things. Ellen White adds to it fire, flood, earthquake. We need to know where we are. Jesus has given us a list, categorized list of events to look for. And after listing all of these various things, and that's how he referred, that's the word Jesus, all these things. Key words, all things. Right here. All these things are This is where the party starts. The demons are going to come out and dance. So I put this on the new chart. Look at it. Right here, just a little blurb in the middle of everything. It's a quotation from Ellen White. As we near the close of time, there will be greater and still greater external or open to view parade of heathen power. Heathen deities, those are demons. Heathen deities will manifest their signal power, key word, and exhibit themselves before the cities of the world. Now I would challenge you or anyone else to just go online and look up UFO sightings. That's all you have to do. I saw my first UFO in 1947. I saw my second UFO in 1947. I saw my third and fourth UFOs, 49, 50, 51, 52. Now you have to understand that I'm a child of the war. I'm a product of the war years, the Second World War, the greatest, most terrible war that has ever, until that time, happened on the planet. As a child of the war, planes and tanks and ships and guns and bombs and whatever, that was my daily diet. I had an uncle who was not quite of age to join the Marines. He had 2 brothers before him who had joined the Marines. And his great dream and ambition in life was to be a Marine. So while he's at home getting another year past, almost another year, and he's going to join the Marines, which when he passed that age, he joined the Marines. But the war was over. Thank you, Lord. So while he is waiting to grow up and mature and get the right age to join the Marines, he is making models. He's constructing models. He had models of bombers, and he would suspend them from the ceiling in his bedroom on black thread. And he had models of ships and models of tanks and models of this. And I'm just a kid. We'd go to visit grandmother, and there would be Uncle Jimmy. Boy, first thing I wanted to do was go look in Uncle Jimmy's bedroom. And he would look up, and his first pronouncement and his last pronouncement was, If you touch it, I'll kill you. He knew what? I wanted to touch it. 1947 is referenced, listen, is referenced in the UFO literature as one of the largest, grandest, greatest flap years. Flap. That's what they call it. That's where you have sightings all over the place, outside of this country, all over the world. 1947 was the flap year. Now, 47 was Roswell, New Mexico. 47 was 2 years after the 2 bombs were dropped. And we were experimenting not with atomic bombs anymore, but with hydrogen weapons. You have to understand what 47 means. In 1947, I was 5 years old. What does a 5-year-old kid know? Well, I'll tell you what I heard with my own ears. We had a young black girl from the community not far away, and she helped my mom a couple of days a week. She would come, she'd wash clothes, fold clothes, iron clothes, help my mom keep the house and do whatever. On this particular day, she came in and she was all agitated. I can't even remember her name. She was a young girl. Can't remember her name, but she was all nervous and upset. And I'm going to quote her, okay? When she came in, my mother said, and called her name, says, "What's the matter?" "Them booger lights all night." These lights out in the sky, and they weren't far away. My husband, he'd been out shooting all night. What was he doing? He had a shotgun, and every time a booger light would appear, he would be shooting. All night long, kept the whole neighborhood awake. What's going on? If you don't know the history, you would probably like to read a history of 1947 in the state of Alabama and the sightings, because there were a lot of Air Force bases in this state and in Florida. And the record of these UFOs was just, well, I'm telling you this because Ellen White says, as we near the close of time, there's going to be an increase in these sightings. So I've given you the headline right there, Daily Mail. That's Great Britain. I had Tony, I said, "Tony, just go online and look up recent UFO sightings." He says, "Man, that's from Great Britain. Why have the number of UFO sightings reached an all-time high?" You look at the date on it. We're not talking about ancient history. What's going on? See, you have to have power or authority when trouble breaks out in the land. And trouble is coming. Trouble is on the way. Do you really understand what's going on? Society is breaking down. Let's bring another 2 million into this country. Yes, but has anybody checked them out? Oh, we don't need to check them out. They're human beings, and that's all that matters. See, common sense is gone. Reasoning powers are gone. If you know history, if you've read the history of nations that have come and gone, we're at the gone stage. We're over the edge. Whether I agree or not with the White House and every decision that's made, it doesn't matter. It's gone. I want to draw your attention, our attention, to the word things. Things. And all. All these things. Ellen White summarizes in fire, flood, and earthquake, with war and bloodshed. I believe that's where we are. I believe before this year is over, Daniel chapter 4 is going to speak clearly. So it's this line right here. It's this line that we want to reference. You got to have a beginning point. When you get into Daniel, you can count and read all the numbers you want, but if you don't know what the daily is that's taken away, you don't know where to begin. Jesus is giving us a list of all things, and then he says, this is the beginning. So you and I have to be able to demonstrate in our day that all these things are going on. And I submit to you, all these things are going on. And they're about to increase in ferocity. Now maybe we're going to have an open shooting war with North Korea. I have my own reasons for saying no, I don't think that's going to happen, because the Chinese are the ones who will be accursed most with that, because millions of North Koreans will flee over the line into China, begging for food and protection. And the Chinese have said outright, no, don't do that, talking to the president and the present administration over here. No, don't do that. We'll take care of the matter. Well, how it's going to work out, only God knows, but I believe this is a rumor. But I believe before this year is over, according to Daniel chapter 4, 12 months before this year is over, I believe we're going to war with Iran and Iraq, because the two are going to be put together again. That's according to prophecy. That's according to the book of Daniel. 2 horns. The first horn is broken, but then is back again. Now this is very important, because this is power being exerted over 1/3 of the population of the world. And so here's the way the game is being played. The United States doesn't like Islamic terrorism. We don't like it. We don't like what they do, what they represent. We don't like it. And so what we want to do is go among that group of people and find reserved moderates like Saudi Arabia, like Jordan, and we want to befriend them and have them fight internally for us as proxy against these radicals. This is the game that's being played. Now we appear to be winning because we got big guns and we got money, and the Saudis have money, and the Omanis have money. So we've got the strength and authority on our side. I submit to you that if the devil is going to win at this game, and I believe he is, until Jesus comes, Jesus is the only power that he cannot break. All these earthly authorities and powers are going to be broken, step by step by step. He will change the times and the seasons, and he will change kings, authorities. Now there has to be a beginning point. There has to be a beginning. And so I'm going to ask you to just remember with me from memory, because you know this story. But putting the story together is a different matter. There are 12 chapters in the book of Daniel. 4 of the 12 chapters are visions or dreams. There are 2 dreams and there are 2 visions. The 2 dreams were given to the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar. The 2 visions were given to Daniel, the Hebrew prophet. Now the scripture says if a matter is doubled, you can know that it is what? It's certain. So this matter, please listen, is not simply doubled. It's doubled. First dream. Image of the metal man. Head of gold. Breast and arms of silver. Belly and thighs of brass. Legs of what? Come on, legs of what? Iron. The gold, the silver, and the brass represent earthly powers. Check it out. Earthly powers, earthly governments, earthly dominions. The iron, that's the beast system that is going to take and exert power over all the governments. Now, people don't like that. We want our sovereignty. You have to have trouble so terrible, so fearful, so frightening that you will get the great powers of earth to bow down and say, okay, we surrender. Now you have to check the prophecies to find out who they're going to surrender to. You, O king, listen, are this head of gold. And after you, there shall be another who is inferior to you, or your rule, your kingdom, your authority, as silver is inferior to gold. So what is the lesson to be learned right here? Right now you have authority, but it's going to go by the way. The great tree. Cut it down. Don't just cut it down. Cut all the limbs off. Strip all the leaves off. Throw all the fruit away. Now this is between you and me and the doorpost, but I believe this is going to have a literal fulfillment in California, in the great fertile state of California where they grow so much food and so much fruit and all the beautiful things. Cut it down. It's coming down. It's coming down. And if anything about what the seismologists are saying, they project and they fear and they think is going to be the result, that fertile valley, the Central Valley, will be gone. The same thing that happens to the head of gold happens to the great tree. Cut it down. Now the question is this time and this time the same time? Just two different prophecies of the same event. Daniel 7. 4 beasts. The lion, the bear, the leopard, and tell me what the fourth beast is. Well, tell me about the metal. There's gold, there's silver, there's brass, and what? Iron. So tell me what the 4 beasts are. Lion, bear, leopard, and what? The terrible beast. We're talking about authority. Who has the power? We're talking about the great powers of earth, the lion, the bear, and the leopard. What is their power? They have military authority. They have monetary authority. They have massive authority and power, military and else. Tell me what happens to the first beast of Daniel 7, the lion. He has what kind of wings? He has what kind of heart? The heart of a lion, but it's ripped out. And what about the wings? They're ripped off. And the lion is humbled. I think that's the same point as cutting down the tree. I'm sorry, but that's what I see. These are 4 different stories, prophecies, predictions of the same event. And what's the fourth one? The rough goat comes from the west. The ram with 2 horns pushes, angers, it says, the beast in the west. and the rough goat comes. And what does he do? He throws the ram to the ground and breaks both his horns. Now, this is the record of that vision. And when he was strong, power from the west, when he was strong, the notable horn in verse 23 or thereabouts in Daniel 8 says, Gabriel says, the notable horn is the first king. He's the number one power, the number one king. That is the same as gold. That is the same as the great tree. That is the same as the lion with eagle's wings. That is the same. These are the same visions and dreams cast in a different mold. 50 years I have failed to see this. And when it began to break on my mind what was going on, it was not a eureka event. It was not a happy event. It's a terrifying proposition. So I'm going to try and put it together here. The United States of America is the last Protestant bastion on the planet. We have spiritual authority, and we have monetary authority, and we have military authority. If the enemy doesn't like that, he has to break all those. So would you call this a Protestant country anymore or not? Would you call this a Protestant? If you say, this is Protestant America, then I'm going to ask you, how do you have 8 Roman Catholic justices on the Supreme Court and 1 Protestant? Would anybody be positioning, jockeying, so that when the power change comes, we have the power already in our pocket? We already have the authority in our pocket. The United States of America is no longer a Protestant nation. Ellen White makes a prediction. When this nation, in her legislative halls, shall enact laws enjoining the enforcement of the papal Sabbath, the protection of heaven will be withdrawn. I'm so thankful we haven't done that yet. Oh, you have to have a crisis to do that. That crisis hasn't come yet. Thank you, Lord. We need a little time and a lot of money so we can give a warning, so we can get a message out. We have a little bit of time. So I want to do a what if. I'm not asking you to agree. I'm not even asking you to see. I'm asking you to at least consider the possibilities I'm about to string on the board here. Increase. Increase. Wars and rumors of wars. We're moving along here. We have some places to go. We have to change the money. Why would you want to change the money? First of all, the money you have is not worth anything anymore. And secondly, if you can change the money and track every dollar that you print, you meaning the government, if you can change the money and track every dollar that every person spends with supercomputers, then if I want to go to the store and buy 5 cases of toilet tissue, now why would you do that? Because you're a prepper, because you are one of those survivalists, because you are a hoarder, you think you have a right to take what belongs to the people. You mean to tell me that every time I go to the store and buy something, there's a record of it? Yes. From gasoline to canned beans, there is a record. And if we changed like our friends in Denver, Colorado did, went to the store and came out with 2 shopping carts loaded, and an employee of Walmart followed her out to the car. She thought, oh, this is so nice, they've come to help me put this stuff in the, He stepped back, took a picture of her tag, took a picture of her, took a picture of the baskets, and turned around and walked off. If you don't understand, I don't know what to say. There's going to be a change in the circulating currency real soon. Someone else predicted it long before Brother Wheeling. I'm just acting on that authority and looking to see where current events are taking us. There's going to be a change. There's also going to be a devaluation. It's going to look good. It's going to be big. It's going to be great. It's going to be Yahoo. And suddenly, as the lightning flashes from the heavens, will come the end of their bright visions and delusive hopes. Money will soon depreciate in value very suddenly when the reality of eternal scenes opens to the senses of man. I'm quoting verbatim. Now, here's my struggle. I have a time component in each of these 4 visions and dreams. In the first one of Daniel chapter 2, the time component says in verse 28, Daniel 2 and verse 28, but God hath shown the king what shall be in the, come on, ladder. So we know where to look. We know not to look at the Napoleonic Empire. But people have been saying they're in the latter days for thousands of years. Yeah. Well, let's talk about today. Could this be the latter days? Now, if we see the head of gold tarnish, maybe we'll know. Where are we in all of this? Well, this is personal. I've said it. I'm going to say it again. The first 3 months have already passed. So tell me where in history past you could apply Daniel chapter 4. Well, it happened. We don't have a historical record of it happening as it is spelled out in the dream or the vision. We don't have a record of that. Nebuchadnezzar was the first king. There was a succession of kings in Babylon. You would have to come down to Belshazzar, who was the last king, to say that's where the tree was cut down. But that's way more than 12 months from Nebuchadnezzar to Belshazzar. Doesn't work. The whole book of Daniel and the visions and the dreams are at the time of the end. At the beginning of the book, at the end of the book. So here we are. I guess today marks the 3rd month. This is 100 days right here. So what can we expect? We can expect wars, rumors of wars, demonic activity. What else can we expect? We can expect things to look up economically, financially. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to change the tax structure. I like that. I think that should have been done before I came along. It's nutso, the way we collect taxes in this country. When I get off the plane in Sydney, Australia, I buy something, it's got a value-added tax. That's it. That's it. That's it. You don't have to go hire 15 accountants and go through all this rigmarole. So we're going to simplify the tax record, the tax business. That's going to give us extra money and we'll spend that on whatever. The markets, I can tell you this, the markets are going to jump. You just wait and put in the new money, which is, quotes, gold-backed or asset-backed. Put in the new money. We're going to see the markets jump. We're going to see the world call for a party. Now, how does Paul write that in the New Testament? For when they shall say, peace and what? It actually says prosperity in the Greek. When they shall say or call for peace and prosperity, suddenly as the lightning, see, sudden destruction is going to come. This is what we're not ready for. This is what this nation is not ready for, much less the world. This is what we are not ready for. And so right in the middle of all of this, well, the Russians and the Chinese are threatening to dump all the U.S. Treasury bills that they hold on the world markets and bankrupt us. Now, I submit to you that something has to happen larger than bankrupting the U.S. dollar. There has to be something that so humbles this nation that it cannot revive, not in 7 years, not ever. She's going down. Cut off the limbs, shake off the leaves, throw away the fruit. So this is my conclusion. I believe that a natural disaster or a series of natural disasters are going to come upon this nation as judgments, just like came upon Sodom and Gomorrah. Just like. I believe that judgments are going to come upon this land that is going to totally bankrupt us. If something happens on the West Coast, the state of California is the 5th largest economy in the world. One state. 5th largest economy in the world. If you have a natural disaster that takes the West Coast out of this picture financially, and who knows how many people are going to be killed in a succession of tremendous quakes, who knows? Only heaven knows. This nation is going to be humbled. This lion is going to be toothless and wingless and heartless. This gold is going to be gone. This notable horn, and when he was strong, the horn was broken. And for it, the power was. And we're talking about the possibility that this could happen in 9 months from now. 9 months. So if the possibility is there, didn't say the reality, if the possibility is there for this nation to bankrupt, we're talking about you and me and us. I'm already bankrupt, Brother Wheeling. No. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about personal finance. We are, but we are at a great extension. We're talking about the most powerful nation, energy-driven system on the planet, who has had control of the money that governs and drives the whole planet. Cut the limbs off, throw the fruit away. That's all possible. So my question to you this morning is, what can you or I do to change it if it should become reality? And I submit to you nothing. You cannot do anything to change that reality if it happens. But we can change some things. So if the Lord, through the changing of the circulating currency and other financial means, if the Lord should make a way financially for us to print millions of books, oh, Brother Wheeling, I wouldn't do that. I'd just go buy some extra cans of beans and cases of toilet tissue. If God sends the kind of money and wealth that we're talking about, would you conclude that it's just chance, just luck, just good luck? I won the lottery. So I'll put it together like this. As we were sharing in the churches, week after week, month after month, year after year, we were sharing in the churches. We're talking about large congregations in many cases. The people would come to me in the afternoon breaks or whatever. They would come, or at the end of the seminar, and they didn't say anything. You're talking to this person and somebody is stuffing money or a check into this pocket. Somebody's stuffing money into this pocket. Now, there are only two possibilities. Brother Wheeling's going to take that money and he's going to buy a yacht. If he gets rich enough, he'll get a plane like Trump. The only two possibilities. All this money, either Wheeling is going to say, this is mine, or he's going to say, this is not my money. Who does this money belong to? Who put me there? Who gave me instruction? Who said, this is what I want you to do? So there are only two possibilities. Either Wheeling is taking the money, and there were a lot of voices insisting that that was the case. I had one occasion where this brother accused me. He drove all the way to the General Conference office and accused me of stealing thousands and thousands of dollars from his ministry. I got the call from the General Conference office, drive, you're going to come to Loma Linda, not drive. You're going to meet us on Sunday morning in Loma Linda. We're going to meet at the Loma Linda Hospital. We're going into a conference room, and you're going to answer some questions, Brother Wheeling. So I flew most of the day. I got to LAX about 10:30 at night. 10:30 at Los Angeles is 12:30 my time. You understand? It's been a long day. Now I'm not even going to get sleep because they have me marked for an early morning meeting in Loma Linda to go on trial at the hospital. So I got there. Here was the accuser. Here are General Conference representatives. Here are local representatives. And the first thing they said to me, Wheeling, what have you done? I don't know. Why don't you tell me what I've done? They never even asked for a record. They said, that's it. We've heard enough. You've heard enough. You're the only ones talking. You don't ever want to be placed in a position like this. Let me tell you, you don't ever want to be part of it. The devils are dancing. There are only two possibilities. Either Wheeling is taking the money for his own purposes, his own use, his own pocketbook, or he's printing books. I think we have evidence in hand. So this building, which is scarcely a building, it's cracking all the way around because I borrowed from a Baptist friend a backhoe, and I scraped the ground right here so we could pour a slab for this building. We paid $1,000 for the building. Yes, but who owns the ground? Judy and Charles. What did you charge, Brother Wheeling? Nothing. We deeded it free of charge. Do you understand? What the truth is does not matter when the time comes. In what is coming, the truth is not going to fare well. You have to be prepared. You folk are living in the neighborhood. you might want to get out while you can. You might want to run fast and far. It's only a matter of time. I'm watching. I have confessed. I have not made any wild claims. I have confessed that it's pure guesswork, and that I, like you and thousands of others, are watching to see where it goes next. I think I know where it's going next. And if there's a change in the circulating currency and money comes and some measured amount to this ministry, then we need to print books as fast as we can, as many as we can, and send them as far and wide as we can. That's the plan. That's the plan. Now, I'm asking you folk not to run. You can, but I'm asking you not to. And I'm asking you not to on this basis. As the years have come and gone, we're left with a precious few. And we're depending on you, not for money. We're depending on you for moral support. Because if you read the book, where it's going to go is right down to the end, and Jesus says, are you going to leave me too? You folk are here, and that's important. It doesn't matter whether there's 1 million supporters or 10 supporters. What you don't want to be is all alone in the storm. You just don't want to be all alone. And I look at Malcolm and I say, here's a man who's had loss. And yet he's talking about praying for us and praying for my wife. That's important. That's more important than any money amount you can put on it.